things that I continue to hear on a daily basis is what is going on with my PG&E bill? Why are the rates going up? Why am I using less electricity now, but yet I'm still paying almost twice as much? So there's a lot of chatter on Facebook, on Nextdoor, social media threads where people are seeing free this, free that. And so they're getting confused on, well, how come I'm paying so much, but then there's all these things that are potentially free. So I help homeowners mitigate through a lot of that. Some people, as they see their PG&E bill, they might have a little bit different F word that comes into mind, but we won't go there right now. So the one thing I want to do is a quick introduction. Most of you know I'm originally from Wyoming. I grew up about 4 miles from a large coal-powered power plant, and that facility is still in operation today. And I wanted to be in a position about 7 or 8 years ago to where I could be working with people. So I left the golf industry and have been focusing on solar ever since that. So my main goal on a day-to-day basis is to help educate homeowners and families and get them exactly what they want, which is a cheaper way and a more cost-effective means of not only producing their own electricity, but certainly witnessing those savings on a month-to-month basis. All right, here's a picture of the coal-powered power plant. Again, still in existence today. It's about a few miles away from where I grew up, and several friends, family that have worked there over the years. And a lot of people, when they say or know that I lived in Wyoming, they ask, well, how many cows do you have? What was it like to ride a horse to school? How many chickens did you have? It's none of that. It's a normal town in the Midwest. Yes, it's rural. There's only about 2,000 people that live there. But we had paved streets, we had cars, we had houses to live in. I did not grow up or live in a teepee. That some people seem to think that Wyoming is this wild, wild west. So the only thing that we did lack were stoplights. So this is the town square, the main intersection of Glen Rock, Wyoming. There's stop signs, and that's about it. So no stoplights. So, all right, back into electricity. So if pricing was all equal, which would you choose? Would you go and pay for coal-powered electricity, nuclear electricity, or solar-powered electricity? All things being equal, most of us, because of what we hear on a day-to-day basis now, most people would select solar. They know that coal power is kind of on its way out. It's a dirty form of electricity. Nuclear has a bad rap, although nuclear is by far the most efficient form of electricity. It's just the downside is the waste that comes from that can be very hazardous. And then solar, that's kind of the new up and coming and the big push for renewable energy right now. So, and a lot of times people will say, well, if I go with solar, am I going to get hit with a massive surcharge? Are these utilities going to fine me, or are they going to be mad if I convert to solar because now I'm not buying electricity from them? The answer is no. All the major utilities, whether it's PG&E, Edison, LA Department of Water and Power, they all need more power to be produced throughout the entire state of California. Look at all the devices that we have, the TVs that we have, the Wi-Fi this and Wi-Fi that, and Janice just mentioned, the smart home. You're going to see that a lot more. Combine that with today's push for everybody to go out and get an electric vehicle. Well, where's all this power going to come from? And so these utility districts continue to raise their rates at a very high clip to incur. Basically, you think about it, they're essentially forcing people to make some changes, whether you change the way you use electricity and use less, or you finally commit to converting your property to solar. So you're not going to get hit with a surcharge. There is a minimum connection fee that all of us pay no matter what as a PG&E customer. That will continue, but it's certainly not a surcharge. And it's been proven year after year, decade after decade, that solar is the most cost-effective and cheapest form of electricity. Okay, so if we look at what's gone on from the 1970 to 2000, back in the 1970s, electricity rates were about 2, maybe 3 cents per kilowatt hour, just ridiculously cheap electricity rates. And then they went up on an average of about 6 to 7% per year for the next up until about the year 2000. So if you also look at the infrastructure, especially with PG&E, there's 16 million customers and thousands of miles of infrastructure, whether that's power poles, power lines, transmission centers. There's just a tremendous amount of infrastructure that they have to keep up with. So as that continues to get old, it continues to fail. PG&E is supposed to take a portion of everybody's bill and put that into infrastructure upgrades. We all know that they have not done that as much over especially the last 10 or 15 years, which has created an increase in wildfire danger. And then you look at all just the energy loss. So for instance, when they build these massive solar farms down in the desert, it's actually they're producing a lot of electricity at the local source, but then they have to still ship that up to the Bay Area, and it ends up losing quite a bit of electricity along the way. More recently, what's creating the rate increases? You've got lawsuits, you've got the restructuring of PG&E, and so they claimed bankruptcy in order to get themselves to restructure, and that will continue to raise the rates in the coming years as well. This, as I mentioned, I started in about 2015. This was a slide I used in 2016, 2017. And it was a way for us to try to encourage people to go solar. And the way we used it is, at the time, average rate for PG&E was about 18 cents. If we did the subscription program, we were getting people qualified at about 15 cents per kilowatt hour. It was a pretty tough sell back then. And we basically had to future cast it and say, hey, you're getting a 3-cent rebate or discount now, but look what's going to happen. By the year 2025, we expect the rates to be about 25 cents per kilowatt hour. So that encouraged people, to move forward, because they figured out that it's a good thing to do for the environment now, but then we'll be able to save even more money in the future years. Little did we know that even by the year 2019, rates would already be at 22 cents per kilowatt hour. So of course, the people that got enrolled in solar programs 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, now they're happy because their savings potential is just much greater. The prediction at this time, based on today's rates. So if I look at, I worked at an HOA facility in Stockton over the weekend. Average rate for the 10 homeowners that I worked with came out to about 34 cents per kilowatt hour. That's today's rate in 2022. It's projected to be close to 50 cents by the year 2025. If you put that into perspective, Joanne's not here, but I'm going to use her numbers. Her household use a lot of electricity, and it's nothing against how they use electricity or what they do. But if they're using 18,000 kilowatt hours a year, and we put it into 2025's numbers at 50 cents per kilowatt hour, that's $9,000 a year just for electricity. So by having the Palia household move forward with solar, now they've invested in solar, they've eliminated themselves from the PG&E rate plan, and now they're looking at probably easily less than 5 year, probably closer to 3-year return on investment. So by them converting their property to solar, they said enough is enough. We're done with you, PG&E, and they'll have probably at least 2 decades worth of free electricity moving forward.
Hey, Paul, you have about 30 seconds.
All right. So real quick, the way that PG&E has snuck in these rates increases during the pandemic, it could be considered illegal, but that's what they've gotten away with. Back in March at the Public Utilities Commission, they already have approved to go up another 18%, January 1st, 2023. And by the way, it's a $58 increase per month starting in 2026. So they snuck that in about 3 weeks ago during the Public Utilities Commission. If there was ever a time for you, your family, your referrals, your clients to look at different alternatives to save money for electricity, definitely this is probably one of the best years to do it. And a quick recap, the solar subscription program continues to be extremely popular right now. And we're doing a lot of work out in the Stockton and Central Valley with this program. It allows people to go solar, no out-of-pocket cost, no deposit, no down payment. It gives them about a 50% discount on the electricity, and we're actually able to get them their first 6 months essentially free. Okay, so I appreciate you listening. I know that's a lot of information, a lot of numbers, and look forward to hearing back from you and scheduling some one-on-ones to go into more detail about this.